I jump off the truck and run the opposite direction of the fire, and then the wind changed directions. It caught me. My face is on fire, and I'm rolling around screaming out to God, "Save me, Lord, save me, save me, save me." And this is the most miraculous thing, but I rose up. I couldn't see a thing. I got lifted up. I just floated.
This is Touched by Heaven. Everyday encounters with God. Those moments when heaven and earth collide and we see God. We see his hand reaching out to us, attempting to get our attention. Through these encounter stories with angels, divine intervention, prophetic dreams, visions, near-death experiences, welcome. I'm your host, Trapper Jack. When it's not your time, it's not your time. There you are. Look at you. Yeah, you're still breathing. I can hear you. Okay. So, and then there's Jamie Cashin. 3 occasions where he should be gone. There's the fire. You'll hear about that. There was a time in a South American prison, along with his pastor Troy, and Pastor Troy, I get a kick out of him. You'll hear him in a second here too. He'll be on video, a YouTube video, and we'll incorporate that along with live with our buddy Jamie here. So the two of them, along with others, were in a South American prison, and there's a guy in front of Jamie he's going to kill him. He's standing right there in front of him. He's going to kill Jamie. Yeah, that's story number 2. And story number 3 has to do with this scuba moment off of Cozumel, Mexico. And little do they realize as they're out there in the wide open ocean that there is a storm coming that will become known as Hurricane Earl. And they're scattered all about, and it's pitch black. And what? It's not your time. That's biblical. I mean, Jesus said it all the time. It's not yet my hour, or it's not yet my time. But throughout the Bible, Old and New Testament, there are these references to not yet. You know, Paul was in shipwrecks and assassination attempts, and nope, not yet my time.
Amen.
And you have stories, man. I saw you with that nutball pastor of yours, friend.
Have you ever heard of him before?
No, what's his name?
His name's Troy Brewer. This is awesome. So I grew up with this kid.
Now, Jamie and I have been good friends since we were little bitty kids. I actually met Jamie in the 3rd grade. He was a 2nd grader, and I was a 3rd grader. And I met him because I met him in the spanking line at the principal's office. It's a true story.
It's true. That's true.
I would get sent to the office nearly every day to get a spanking, and he was always in there waiting to get his spanking.
Because he was demonic. Thank you, Jesus, for saving him and bringing him where he is today. Woo! He was going down the wrong path.
And we're both raised in a little old country town called Joshua, Texas. Population at that time was about 1,500 people. So we grew up from the 3rd grade on, and just a remarkable friend. And when he was about 19 years old, he got saved and started a church. Then someone gave him a church in Burleson, Texas. I mean, he calls it out. As a matter of fact, during COVID, he was the only church open in the Fort Worth area. And the government tried to shut him down so much. And he just simply said, look, people are sick and they need God. It was something. And that's what put him on the map. 2 of my death experiences has happened traveling with him.
Well, you sent me the video and of one of the stories in particular, so I want to hear all 3. If you want to save that one till the end or start with it, I don't know which one.
Well, definitely my best one is the one when I got burned at 16, without a doubt.
Let's go. Let's do it. Do it.
So I actually joined the volunteer fire department in Joshua when I was 15 years old, and probably had about 20 fires under my belt, but very, very small fires, nothing big to speak of. And then I believe it was February 26th of 84. We had pagers back then, and my pager went off, and you could hear the excitement in the dispatcher's voice that this was a big deal, because usually they're very calm. And she was, basically yelling, hey, all Joshua volunteer firemen, this is a 2,500 acre grass fire. The winds are gusting up to 40 miles an hour. Flames are cresting at 18 feet high. This is a big one. You guys be safe. Fort Worth is an assist. All these different cities are coming to assist you. So I'm running to get all my gear. And as a volunteer, you have to pay for your equipment. And I didn't have any money. So I'd saved up money for a fireproof coat. But that day I was wearing a pair of sweats, cotton sweats. So I'm running to get my gloves, and we were in such a hurry. The chief's like, let's go. So I didn't even get my gloves, which, if you could see my hands, they wanted to amputate several of my fingers because my hands are so disfigured from getting burned. But saying that, we get to the scene, and I'm on the front of a 500-gallon tanker in a cage, and I'm spraying this fence line to keep the water from jumping on. And in a nutshell, the saddest part was there was nothing endangered. This was just a bunch of ranch land that had probably 4 foot of grass, what we call fuel, and there was no structures, no animals. We really had no business being out there. That's hindsight. So I'm doing
But
this
you're
fence
sitting, are you
line.
sitting on the front of the truck with your hose? How's this working?
So I'm standing up. It's just like a cage that has an opening. You can step right out or right in. That's mounted to the very front of the truck,
Okay.
and it sits there, and it holds a hose. There's like a handle, and you can hold the hose and spray back and forth. So you don't have to physically hold the hose because it gets heavy. And so it's just an apparatus that are on brush trucks out in the country. It's kind of a common thing. So so we made the carnal mistake, which you don't do, and we drove into the fuel. And you always fight fire from the black. I've transferred now to the back of the fire truck, and I'm spraying the area around me, and here comes the fire. And it indeed was, the flames are reaching 18 feet high. It was incredible. So the fire's coming to me, and there's two 10-gallon gas tanks like that's on the back of those Jeeps. It used to be on the back of those Jeeps, and then it's for fuel for our pump. And I'm thinking to myself, man, if this fire reaches me, we're going to explode. So I jump off the truck and run the opposite direction of the fire, and then the wind changed directions. And obviously, I can't run 40 miles an hour, so it caught me. And now I'm surrounded in a 2,500 acre grass fire. They said I was in there approximately 40 seconds. So you stop, drop, and roll, and I'm rolling around screaming out to God, just screaming, not cutting the deal, not saying save me and I'll do this. I'm just saying save me, Lord, save me, save me, save me, over and over and over and over. And this is the most miraculous thing. But I rose up. It supernaturally rose up. My face is on fire. If you could see my face, it's severely scarred. I got burned third degree, 36% of my body. The worst is my face and my hands and my legs. So I'm disfigured pretty bad. So my face was on fire, and I couldn't see a thing because my face is on fire, and you can't hear because when you're in the middle of a fire, it's just so loud. It's deafening. But yet I went to the only fireman left on that scene, and he grabbed me and put me out and got burned second degree doing it. He recently passed away. His name was Dwayne Capps. And
Okay,
when
let's pause for 1 second here. Let's go back.
Sure.
You
Yeah,
got
yeah.
fire all around you. Now, your driver is how far away?
The driver is actually the one that jumped out of the truck, and that's who I ran to.
Okay.
Couldn't see or hear him.
Okay, so you have fire all the way around you, and you say you have 18-foot flames.
That's how tall they were.
And you say you're on fire, but you rose. What does that mean?
I was praying out, and I got lifted up.
You got lifted up over the flames?
No, I was through the flames. I got lifted up, and I don't even. I didn't even walk. I'm the best my regular. I just floated. I mean, somehow I got there to the other guy that I could not see.
You are incapable of doing what you did.
100%.
Because you couldn't use your legs, because why?
Well, they were, everything was burning. Even my boots were still burning to my feet. I've got scars where my boots were still melting.
You've pretty much felt burned to a spot. Like this is where I'm going to die right here unless you save me.
Oh, absolutely.
God.
Absolutely.
And somehow you got floated to your buddy.
I mean, it was just a miracle. I know either an angel came and lifted me up, or Jesus personally lifted me up.
But you physically felt you were floating.
I was all I can truthfully say is that I went to this fireman. I don't know how I got there.
Okay.
I've always said I floated to him, and nothing's ever changed. I mean, they interviewed me. I've been on news channels and what have you, and that's never changed. I didn't run to him. I didn't walk to him because I couldn't see.
Yeah.
So you're just walking in fire, and you can't, unless you've been in it, you just can't explain it. You can't see.
And you were floated to him, not over 80 degrees away. To him.
Right, to him. Kind of like, I'm gonna just surmise it by like Daniel in the lion's den. or no, it was Bendishak. Who were the three that went through the flame?
Right, the three guys with the weird
really,
names. Yeah, the law firm and
the law
and the
firm. Yeah,
Bendigo.
exactly right. And it was just incredible.
And so literally you're in the hospital like a year.
Almost, it was a long time.
It was a really long time.
Long time.
And then I remember the first time that you got out of the hospital, it was Halloween. So I got to tell you all this. I got to tell you all this story. It was Halloween, and we wanted to.
You see where this is going, I bet already.
We wanted to go to this hoity-toity costume party. So this is what we did. I went and put on a fireman uniform, and he went as the burn victim.
He talked me into it.
And people were like, "Oh my God, how did you do that?"
You know what? They do that. They do that. So Halloween is like my only safe. That's when people just don't stare at me because they think, God, he's got really good makeup going on. But I'm not exaggerating. People will come up, wow, dude, that's rocking. You did good.
Listen,
you did good.
That's how confident he was as a 16-year-old kid. Can you imagine that? You were a trip.
And so I eventually get to Hughley Hospital, and my mother was disabled. She had a car accident when I was 6 years old, and a very brutal divorce. I mean, I don't know how blunt I can be on the radio, but the facts are the facts. So my dad basically was not being a good husband, and she was en route to catch him and had a wreck en route, and her car flipped up in there and it broke her neck. And she became a paraplegic. So he left us. You know, we were on welfare, and the tremendous amount of compassion I learned from taking care of her. That's who defined the man I was. And it really, you know, you have all these bumps in the road to prepare you for harder things in life. And there's no doubt there was a time they came in the hospital and they were going to cut off 3 of my fingers. And my mother was there, and she says, okay, let me get this straight. Are they going to affect him? Well, no, but they're disfigured. Okay, well, I can't use my legs, but you're not going to cut them off. I prefer to keep them. So you're not going to cut off his fingers.
And then came the time when he could go back to school, but he's wearing a protective mask and all these other things that make him look odd, to say the least. And so he doesn't want to go. Kids are laughing at him, and he calls his mom to say, I can't do this. And mom, in a wheelchair after her accident.
My mother answered, and I'm crying. And she goes, Jamie, take a breath, honey. Are you okay? And I'm crying, saying, no, they're making fun of me, Mom. I can't do it. I can't take it. And she goes, honey, you're alive because God saved you. I says, I know, Mother, but I can't take it. And she goes, how'd you get to this phone? And I said, I don't understand. She goes, how did you get to the phone just now? And I said, well, I walked to it. And she goes, exactly. I can't walk, I can't run, I can't dance, I can't feel the grass under my feet, but yet I push forward every day just like you are. You go back and you sit down in that chair and you learn. And that's what I had in my life. And it was profound. I mean, it's just, again, all of God's plan. You know, he knew I needed that kind of push.
That's tough love, man. That is seriously tough love.
Loved her, man. She scuba dived. She jumped out of airplanes. She was amazing. She didn't let the legs hold her back. And I thank God for her, because it definitely made me a stronger man. And she got stared at too. I mean, imagine me pushing her in a wheelchair. They're like, man, what happened to those people? And since then, it doesn't define the man I am, but it's definitely made the man I am. And it's given me a platform, because for some reason, there's just a lot of empathy that I get with children. Can't explain it, don't understand it. And I want to tell them, hey, 2 kids are playing with matches, which they were, and they started this fire, and that's why I look the way I do. You can't ever play with fire, young man, ever. But yet they come to me, and it's going to bring them to God.
Let's go to story number 2. Where are we going?
So the second story is we went to Colombia on a mission trip with Troy. So he's got these orphanages throughout the world, and he's got one in Leticia, Colombia. So we go there for this mission trip, and he comes in, and he's asked me before to do prison ministry with him. And it's not that I'm scared. I'm just like, that's not my calling. My calling's children. But if God asks me to do it, I'll do it. I'm not going to argue with him, but I'm just not called in. He goes, all right, well, we're going to go Wednesday. That Wednesday comes, and it just so happened that day I wore a fireman shirt that just has the fire insignia, that you can be anywhere in the world and they know whatever language is, that's a fireman, kind of like the doctor symbol or the Red Cross. It's the fireman symbol, which is important. So we go to this prison and we have a meeting with the warden. And it was a female, and she went through all the stuffs we had. There were 189 prisoners, and we had 189 bags of things to give them. And she was mad we were there. She didn't want them to have any kind of hope, any kind of gospel. So we walk in to a major, if you can just imagine a big archway with no doors, and it leads into an outdoor courtyard with like maybe 30-foot walls. And on each end is a guard shack with 2 guards. But there's no doors locking you from that courtyard. You just walk in. So myself, my pastor Troy, and a translator walk in. And these guys are just milling around. It's free time, but there's a lot of cartel killers. I mean, a lot of the teardrops going on. These were really, 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 really bad people. This was a bad place. Didn't feel nervous, and then all of a sudden they're looking at us, and the translator is translating, and he tells them that I'm a 7th degree black belt and I'm their bodyguard. And he was kind of kidding, and at that point that's what I was. Well, their whole demeanor changes. I mean, their body language is negative. They're shooting these signs, and they're kind of walking to us. And I said, "What did you say?" He says, "Well, I told them that they better not mess with us, that you're a 7th degree black belt." I said, "Dude, we need to go. Look at them. We need to go. We need to go." So we're backing up against this wall, about to leave, and Troy says, "We're not going to leave. Give them your testimony." And I said, "Troy, I'm not prepared." He goes, "God will give you a word, Jamie. Give it now." So in a nutshell, I just simply said, "Look, I've been to hell." And I told them the same story I told you, but I said, "I've been to hell. I've been in flames. I was there almost a full minute. And I cried out to our God, and he saved me, just like he can save each and every one of you, every one of you." And I got emotional. Well, there were hands going up. People were praying, and it totally changed the mood in that courtyard. But in the very, very back was a guy that was pacing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Never looked at us, never acknowledged us, just pacing. And I caught him. I saw him. Didn't think nothing of it at the time, but I saw him. So our prayer is over. The translator gives a message, and everybody's leaving. Well, the translator, my preacher, they leave, and they're talking to the warden. So now I'm by myself in this doorway as these prisoners are leaving. And I'm putting out my hand saying, "Dios la bendigo," which may God bless you, and they're hugging me. So I'm used to these people hugging me, and I'm cool with that. I'm a big hugger, so I'm hugging. Here comes the last guy, and he's approximately 15 feet from me, and he has a shank. And he looks at me, and he's looking at his shank, and then he looks at me like, "What are you going to do?" And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is a walk in the park. I'm going to do this kick, this. I'm not at all concerned. I've got this. Well, I turn around and look, and 197 prisoners are behind me with their arms folded. And this, I think, was their leader. So I'm like, okay, God, this is on you. There's no way I can take him and maybe 2 more, but this is it. And I can't imagine you're going to let me get stabbed to death in a daggum calamity. And that's how I'm talking to him. That's how I talk to him, like a regular guy. I'm just really shocked. So he took about 3 steps forward and looked at me. He looked at his shank, and then he looked at me like, "What are you going to do?" And I didn't say anything. I just looked at him. And then when he got in stabbing distance, I stretched out my arms like I was Jesus on the cross, and I just sat there. And he came in like he was going to shank me and stab me, and he hugged me. And he said, "Dios la bendigo." And he walked off. May God bless you. Dios la bendigo. And I just started crying. I just folded up, hit the ground, and I'm just like, had I done anything different, I feel as certain I'd have been killed. I mean, I don't know if it was a test. I don't know what it was, but obviously I passed the test. Now, when I'm leaving, Troy sees me crying. He's like, "Dude, are you okay?" And I said, "No, Troy. Y'all left me. I almost got stabbed." He had the shank. He went right around my waist. He could have stabbed me in the kidneys, but he hugged me. And the warden laughed and said, "Well, 4 months ago, they killed 4 of you guys." And she didn't bother telling us that before we went in there.
Yeah.
So it was a miracle. I mean, it was a miracle. It's crazy, isn't it?
Crazy. And what is it about Troy? I mean, I don't know that would be the course, Holy Spirit drives these things, but to say, go ahead, witness. Excuse me? I don't know if those are the first words that come out of my mouth.
I know. But he really is. He's out there, and I feel like that's why he's been blessed, because he's not afraid. He's not.
In Job, let's see, a person's days are determined. You have decreed the number of months that he cannot exceed. Psalm 139 says, all the days ordained for me were written in your book before they came to be. In other words, when it's not your time, it's not your time. Well, let's get out there in the ocean, because we're going to number 3, and this one is the one I heard, and just this is just all God all the time.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. Cozumel, there's a drift dive called the Santa Rosa Wall. It's a relaxing dive. You get in, you're about 30 or 40 feet of water, and the current just pushes you along all this beautiful curl. So I convinced Troy to become a scuba diver.
So guys, we're going to tell you the story of this because it goes in line with what I'm talking about, finding the presence of God in the midst of your storm, because we nearly died in a scuba diving accident. And I'm going to kind of share this with you now. You're a master diver.
Yes, sir.
And how many dives have you had?
A little over 400.
A little over 400 dives all over the world, right? And so I'm very much a novice compared to any of that. I might have maybe
Man, you're like Flipper out there. Can y'all see him? Just and his little old butt kind of floats every now and then. He does good. He does good. He does really good.
We've done some amazing things.
So there's 7 people in the boat and just one instructor. And I'm a master scuba diver, which is a decent high rating, but it's not an instructor. So I tell Troy, I said, look, I've got a lot of dives. I'm your lifeline. Whatever you do, you don't leave me. We have a 13-year-old girl that's doing her open water certification. That instructor is going to be with her and not the rest of us. So you stay with. He said, all right, I got it. So we do what they call a backwards roll into the water, and the current is so strong, it'll take your mask off if you're not holding it. Like, it's strong across the reef. And then the boat will leave and go at the very end of the reef, probably a half a mile or a mile, and wait to pick you up when you pop up.
The current was outrageous. And I should have known then that a storm was coming, because the current is already big there anyway. And it's a big, huge, but there was Hurricane Earl was coming in, and we had no idea, okay? And so as soon as you get in the water, you just take off. I mean, just take off. Your bubbles go sideways, and you just take off. Well,
and Michael Phelps couldn't swim against that current. It's the whole ocean pushing you. It's not going to happen. It's impossible. When we went in the water, it was calm, beautiful day, about 30 boats. When I popped up, 6 to 8 foot swells, lightning, heavy rain.
So if you get lost, you go straight up.
That's right.
And that's what he did. He went straight up to find the boat.
Because they blew past me and I never saw them. And I was like, man, I'm out here all by myself. I'm like, well, I guess my dive's over with. I got separated from the group. So I go to the top, I do my little safety stop, did everything I'm supposed to do. I get up top of the water, do this, boat comes zipping over. And as I'm climbing up out, I look past him, looking over the shoulder as I'm coming up out, and I can see something that I've done a lot of research on since then. I didn't know what it was then, but I know what it is now. It's something called a white squall, okay? And it is a microburst, and it is a wall of water that just comes and takes you over. And I mean, I saw it and I just thought, I've never seen anything like that. I don't know what that is. By the time that I got my tank in, and by the time I got out of my BCD, I get out of it and look, and now I can't see the land. And I'm like, oh no, that thing's fixing to hit us. Well, of course, Jamie and all the other people, somewhere maybe 8 people or 10 people, you guys were still under the water. And I mean, there's no way I can like yell at them and say, come up, let's get in the boat, let's get the heck out of here before this storm hits us. There was nothing that we could do. And guys, the storm hit us, and I was the only guy in the boat, and I was, except for the driver of the boat, I could hear something barreling towards us. And what I thought, oh no, it's a big giant boat, and it's gonna run right into us. But it wasn't. It was just this roar of this wind. And when the wind hit us, it went from totally calm water to 6 to 8 foot swells, just like that. And we went up in the air and came down, went up in the air and came down. And a third time that we went up in the air, we literally caught air underneath us and the boat took off in the air. And I mean, it's like, we're gone to see the wizard. And I didn't know if it was a tornado, if it was a water spout, and we're being sucked up into the air. And we're literally airborne in this boat. And then when it came down vertical, and it hit the water just like this, and everything in the boat, including us, went out of the boat. I don't have a life jacket on. I just got into the boat. All the tanks went out of the boat. And the only reason why I didn't drown is because I hit the motor. And they had 2 twin engines on the back of this boat, and I hit it, and the driver hit the other one. And we just wrapped ourselves around these things like we're starfish, just trying to hang on. Then it went completely under the water, came up out of the water, and hit the water like this and threw us back into the boat instead of throwing us out of the boat. But there was nothing inside of the boat anymore, and now we're in it. And it was a train wreck. And guys, I want to just tell you, for 30 to 45 minutes, I was absolutely 100% convinced this is fixing to kill me at any given moment. This is it. There's no way you survive this. And I want to just say that while I wasn't happy about drowning in the ocean, I promise you, I felt the peace of God. Just like, I'm with you in this. Well, no matter what, and I didn't have a promise I was going to get through it. I didn't hear God say, like, don't worry, Troy, you got this. Like, nope. All God told me is, Troy, I'm here. I'm here with you. And I went, man, the Lord is with me.
Meanwhile, I'm drowning with a whole group of people. So it's all about Pastor Troy. That's all right. I'll tell my part in a minute. Go ahead. Go ahead, buddy.
So, yeah. Well, why did I go back to get you? What was I thinking? So it finally, guys, the wind died down, and this guy that was driving our boat, he's like, look, sun's going down and it's dark. I mean, guys, it was just dark. And because
it was a tropical storm. I mean, it was the tropical, it had hit. There was no boat. When we went out, lots of boats, pretty sunshine. This was about 3:30 in the afternoon. We came back, pitch black, 6-foot swells, no boats.
And so he wants to go home. The driver does.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, man, we got to go out there. So we went back out there, but honestly, guys, that's when I was scared. That's when I got scared, when we went back out into the storm. And so I don't know how we're going to find anybody. We can't see anything. So what happened to you?
What happened to me is you're safely on the boat.
Where were you at, man? I needed you.
So
I could see nothing. So I went back down and I thought, all right, I've got 1,800 pounds of air left. I can hang out for a good 30 minutes, but I don't know what I'm going to do after that. So I'm swimming, and it's still, oddly enough, it's clear underwater. Even though it's dark above, when you get certain levels, you can still see, 10 or 15 feet in front of you.
Can you see land anywhere from where you are?
No. There was no land at all. I could see no land.
Okay.
So I see bubbles, and I'm swimming towards the bubbles, and it was a man and lady who was a part of our group. Now, oddly enough, as we're getting on the dive boat, this man in particular went back to get a flashlight. And I specifically said, sir, you won't need a flashlight because the current's so strong. If you see something, you're already going to pass it. So a flashlight will do you no good. It's just going to create drag. He goes, well, I want it anyway. And I told him, yes, I said, sir, it's going to create a drag. You're not listening to me. He goes, I want it. I said, yes, sir. Go ahead. Take it. So we all three go up, and they panic. They're like, oh, my God, we're going to die. I said, it's serious. This is bad. We need to all tie up together. So if and when we're found, we'll be together, and that will help the families. Because I'm just as a firefighter, death it's going to happen eventually. So I'm like, let's just at least be smart about this and save the agony of our family.
So how are you all tied together? Are you just trying to hold hands? What are you trying to do?
Yes. Yeah. We're holding hands, and we're swimming towards, we're just swimming towards where we think land would be. So we have our mask on, and we have our regulators, so we're breathing oxygen from our tanks. So we're out there for 48 minutes, almost a full hour. And all of a sudden he goes, I'm going to try the flashlight. And I don't say anything to him, but he's got this flashlight frantically just shining it everywhere, all around, just frantically, frantically, frantically. And then I hear a faint motor sound. And I said, did y'all hear that? And they said, no. And I said, I hear a boat. And they're like, no, you don't. I said, no, I hear a boat. Keep doing the flashlight. Keep doing the flashlight. And the sound is getting closer and closer. And there's a short break. And the squall like moves to the left. And there's a short break. And here comes a boat.
And then all of a sudden we hear a motor, and we see through the break of the storm, Pastor Troy, my hero here. And he's screaming, Jamie, I saw the light, I saw the light, I saw the light. And not even knowing at that point how biblical that is. And
I knew.
And I was crying. I was crying so bad, just because I cry, it's what I do. But there's over 40 Bible verses that mention Jesus and the storm. And I can assure you, I'd have been a lot more panicked, a lot more scared had I not known him and not known that he's brought me through storms like that in the past, that you got me into, by the way.
Here's what he's not telling you is we found everybody. They were miles
That's right.
apart.
Yeah.
They were miles apart. They weren't just by each other. They were miles apart out in the
And there was a
Gulf.
13-year-old girl, and this was her open water dive with her mom.
Yep.
So this was her first dive in the ocean, and that was her experience.
And when they came up, the mom and the 13-year-old daughter was holding on to each other, and the storm was so bad, they still got separated. That's how bad the storm was. And so we found the mama before we found that 13-year-old girl. And man, when she got in the boat and found out that her daughter was still in the water, she went postal. And guys, I just can't tell you, I saw a light. And on the way to the light, we came across every single person.
Yeah.
It's crazy cool.
Yeah, praise the Lord.
Okay. Well, guys, listen.
I see the light. Jamie, I see the light. I see your light. I'm coming to you. And he didn't even know the profound statement of, I see the light. The storm had passed. It was still raining hard, but the storm had passed, and we found him. The last person we found was the instructor. The last person. But when we came up, it was absolutely pitch black.
Crazy.
It was, and
Crazy.
it was just as scary.
He's got nothing to go by. He's got nothing until the flashlight.
Right. Isn't that amazing, though? I mean, you do see that as a miracle, don't you?
Oh my gosh, it's nothing but God's written all over it. It's just God's written all over it. And then I see the light. I see the light.
I know it, and just the fact that we came up when we did, and he happened to get the flashlight when he did, and the fact that he even brought it. The fact he even brought it after I told him not to.
Yeah. Boy, if that isn't Holy Spirit,
it's just amazing.
But what was to me impactful is when we got back, I was wanting to talk about it because to me, I was pretty fired. I'm like, all right, this is 3 times I've survived. This is cool. So I'm like, man, let's talk. And he's like, I can't really comprehend what just happened to me. This was a big miracle, and I need to digest what happened to me.
I got lots of God winks, brother. I'm telling you, I really, I don't want to keep you, but I'll tell you,
I appreciate all these stories. I always ask my my guests their takeaway. You know, what do you walk away with? We've heard some great stories here, but what do you walk away with out of all of this?
I walk away that, and not that I'm at the best at following this, but no matter how big our troubles can be, we just need to remind them how big our God is. I know you've heard that before, and it takes me to reflect back on the miracles in my life to overcome when situations hit me that are not good. But I would say to those listening, you may think you're in a hell right now. You may be in your own hell, but there is deliverance. There is, and I'm proof of it. I'm walking proof of deliverance, that when you cry out to God, he hears you. And it may not be the way you want it to be, but it's always his timing, but he does hear you, and he's always going to be there for us, without a doubt.
Amen. You're amazing, Jamie. You're amazing.
Hey, thank you so much for your time. I told Troy I was talking to you today, and he's like, Jamie, you're kidding me. I said, no, and he goes, Jamie, do you know who he is? I says, no. And he goes, Jamie, it's a big deal that you get to talk to him. It's a big deal. May I call him blessed and highly favored of the Lord? And I'm like, all right, I'll pass that on to him. So,
I appreciate that.
I
don't even know. How did you find me? Would you do an AI search? I mean, I don't even know how we get found sometimes.
This is what I did. I said, who are influential podcasters that listen to miracles? And your name popped up. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I reached out to you, Joyce Meyer, and one other person, and no one got back to me but you. And I'm like, okay, Okay. It happened. And I just appreciate you again giving me an opportunity to share it. And hopefully it'll save somebody. Hopefully somebody that needs that word is going to get it.
Amen. Thanks for this, buddy. We'll talk
Hey,
again. I guarantee we'll talk again.
Okay, brother. You
All
have
right.
a blessed day. Call me if I can ever help you, buddy. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jamie. Jamie Cashin, Pastor Troy. Great, man. Talk about a dynamic duo. Fabulous. Longtime friends. So what is your story? You still have time to tell me. It's because when it's not your time, it's not your time. You got time to tell me your story here at touchedbyheaven.net. Thanks for your Patreon help for making this go. My special shout out goes to Robert David. Thanks. I went up pretty high there, didn't I? Robert David. Thank you, Robert David, for being in the Patreon family and your financial support. To join Robert in the family, just come here to touchedbyheaven.net or go to patreon.com directly and click your way through looking for Trapper Jack. Thank you so much. And what else can I tell you? I'll see you next week here at Touched by Heaven. Everyday encounters with God. I'm Trapper Jack, and I think the lesson we learned here today is if anybody ever asks you, hey, how'd you meet so-and-so? Always give the answer.
I met him in the spanking line at the principal's office.